Hi, welcome to another Winemaker's Minute. So you've been through the process, you've sorted your grapes, you've fermented them, you've got the emails that have let you know about the brix and the temperature, and you've seen the graph, the brix go down and the temperature goes up. It gets to the point where towards the end of fermentation, the wines are being pressed and they're being put to barrel. What we're trying to do is to nurture the yeast, which is growing in a really toxic environment, sad to say. It's got ethanol, it's got glucose, it's got aldehydes, it's got all sorts of things in it, and it's really not conducive for the yeast to finish fermentation. Every single barrel that we've got in crush pad at the moment is still ticking away, it's still getting towards the end of their fermentations, but we're keeping an eye on them, we're monitoring them. Alright, so we've pressed your wine, we've put it to barrel. You'll be getting emails that'll let you know the barrel brix, the actual sugar level that's in that barrel. Now don't worry if you find the brix level stays the same for a couple of readings. That's the yeast getting used to its barrel environment. We're going to keep an eye on it, and if we find that those brix values are the same for 2 or 3 readings, which equates to about 4 to 6 weeks, we have ways and means of being able to get that dry. It's a very simple process. Firstly, we'll top the barrel up with wine that has gone dry. So you're going to find that your barrel, which maybe needs a litre or 2 of wine to top up, is getting a litre or 2 of Cabernet or Pinot or whatever the wine is from the same vineyard, and over another 2 or 3 weeks, you'll find the sugars will start to drop again. That's the first way. The second way is if we find after a couple more readings it's still not dropping down, is we'll take a small amount of wine from your barrel, we'll make a yeast culture in that wine, and then after 48 to 72 hours, we'll return that back to the barrel. So the barrel now has a huge population of yeast, and it will also start to slowly tick away. So the third option we have is using champagne yeast technology, where we take the yeast and we embed it in a bead of alginate, which is a fancy way of saying getting a yeast and sticking in a little ball of stuff. Basically, once we have these balls, we suspend them in a bag, a polyester bag, and that allows the yeast beads to be in contact with the wine all the time. It's a very slow process, but it works very efficiently. And here's what it looks like when we actually place it inside the barrel. Here's the tube, the polyester tube, and inside you've got these little yeast beads that have picked up colour. This is a Zinfandel, so it's got a lot of colour there. But every day we'll take this tube, we lift it out of the barrel to allow the wine to drain away from the beads, and then we reinsert it. In the normal process of fermentation, we bring the yeast to the wine. In this scenario, we're actually bringing the wine to the yeast. And so by allowing it to drain, the wine flows away, and then by reinserting it, we refresh the wine around the yeast bead. And it ferments, puts daughter cells into the wine, and ultimately goes dry. We've been very successful with these. We've got these things up our sleeve, we keep the barrel room warm, we keep them high with yeast culture, so the viable count on the yeast is very high, and slowly but surely you'll see your brix drop from 2 to 1.8, 1.5 to 0, and then into negative. So keep an eye out on the numbers. We'll be seeing them to you every 2 weeks, and you'll get an idea of exactly where your wine is. After that, it'll have malolactic culture added to it. Then when the malo is through, you'll be sulfured as well, and you'll get an email about that. Once the barrel's been sulfured, it could be racked if it's a Cabernet or a Zinfandel. If it's Pinot, it might very well stay on lees. But we're basically getting these barrels ready for overwintering, where they just go to sleep basically for 2 or 3 months. I hope you've enjoyed the Winemaker's Minutes on the tail end of fermentation. Now the exciting part starts. We put it to bed for a couple of months, let it go through winter, and wait till spring. When spring comes, that's the next Winemaker's Minute. Thank you.